So thank you guys for checking out another week of our Sandpoint Chronicles. We're going to be shifting gears into the next segment of our prequel to our campaign. And we're going to begin it off at the church. So we're going to have Garlamond, Marius, Father Toybn, and Nualia there. Garlamond has this great plan to discuss with the leaders of Sandpoint and whatnot. Let me go to... So the party, I'll say Aloysius is, in the inn or a tavern, and Jacques is back at home. Garlamond is, making moves, kind of trying to test the grounds before he goes to the council members. Like we said before, around, what was the total death count from the plague?
34%.
37 people, I think.
Yeah, you said 337.
So around 337 people died from the plague. So Garlamond makes his way to the church steps of Marius and is received. You two you smell soothing aromas of sage and herbs. You get the flicker of the candles as it barely casts light on shadowy figures. Nualia and Father Toybn emerge. Father Toybn speaks and steps to you and says, "Dwarf, Marius has told me, as well as Alkalite Ventus, that you bring word. It comes to me, Dwarf, that you have news to stop the town from being thrown in this chaos. Sheriff Averton has mentioned that since the plague, the townspeople have lost hope in our goddess Desna, and the major religions here in Sandpoint. I was told that you may have a remedy to this ailment."
Well, you're not wrong. I got a good idea for us. What we need to do is we need to give the people hope, and we need something for them to rally around, and what better to use than the church? And it just so happens that this young lady over here was recently discovered to be a chosen of your people, of your religion. So I... Shut the fuck up, Larry. You shut the fuck up. I hear you in the background. My apologies for my roommate. And I think what we need to do is, rather than spin this as a couple of adventurers failed to get the cure for this plague that hit the town, how about through the divine providence of Desna and her chosen child Nualia here, the town was rescued from utter disaster. All we need to do is get our stories straight and let the young lady here take credit for saving everyone's lives. And once word carries out into the wider world, you'll have people flock into the city to come see this chosen girl.
So Father Toybn instructs his chain and says, interesting, he says, words of the Chuck will spark not only inspiration from inside Sandpoint, but from those from faraway lands to come and see themselves. So how was this? Well, it wasn't cured by the deaths, but what was the task? What was done to cure the plague?
Well, working together with the local apothecary, she was able to put together a remedy, but only after the blessings of our young chosen Nualia here did the cure act. God damn it, Larry! Shut the fuck up. This is why I don't like doing this with you in the room. Only through the blessings of our chosen young lady Nualia here did the remedy have any effect. It is by her. It is through her that the town was saved, not through the apothecary herself. And I've already spoken to her, and she's more than willing to let this be the story.
Again, Father Toybn is mulling and thinking about what you're saying. He replies, "No, it's been with me the entire time. This would be a fabrication, would it not?"
I mean, it's one little white lie to save the town. Are you ready to watch this place degrade and fall to pieces? Are you ready to watch all the commerce leave and the people die out? Or are you ready to be the voice that saves them? Of course, Nualia is the one who's going to end up having to shoulder the expectations of the people. And I'd prefer if she gave her opinion before we decided on anything.
Marius, what do you think of this?
The townfolk have begun to panic and act like they're going to flee, and we need to do something, otherwise it will be a barren town within months, maybe even weeks.
Again, he's still thinking about this. He says, who all knows of this?
Just those you see here. And Miss Hannah over at the apothecary.
He says, you do pose a good idea, dwarf. With the citizens of Sandpoint rallying behind Nualia here and behind the church, we can begin to not only fill the town with hope, but fill the church's coffers from the greedy mercantile families here that run this town. For too long have we been under their thumb, of their trading of the four families. This would give the church a little more power and a little more say. I am lucky enough to have the mayor's ear in this matter and the council's ear, because they do hold a little bit of respect for here what we do at the church. He says, as he begins to ponder, he says, as long as no one knows about this but those that are in this room and of course Hannah, it may work. We can use Nualia as a symbol and token as what I've been praying about through all the tenets that you've been learning, Marius, through all the sleepless nights, through the sermons, and Nali here, as she has lacked sleep as well, going through her new talents. The sacrifice that's been laid out for those before you will not be in vain.
Now, I can't say I care for the way you use the word using when you refer to that young lady. In the end, this needs to be her choice. We can't force it upon her.
If it was up to me, dwarf, I would be in the brothels. I would be in the inns. I would be just traveling around, seeing the land. But it's not because I want to be here. It's because I have to. It is my duty as a priest of this church of my faith that I have to be here and tend to the wounded, attend to the poor, attend to the orphans, the fatherless. Nalia has a choice, but her choice and our God's choice should be the same thing.
Now, your choice and what you choose to do with your life is one thing. But we cannot force her to do this. There's a lot of expectations to put on somebody. That's saving an entire town on the shoulders of one girl. She should at least have the right to say no. I can't support this plan if we're going to try and force her into it.
Look, she has already been forced into this. Look at her eyes, look at her hair, look at her skin complexion as she changes. Her magical abilities are changing as well. She is becoming far stronger than what she was a week ago. She is almost even rivaling my strength and how our goddess has blessed her. I don't think anyone gets a choice in this matter. Just like as I choose not to be a priest, but it is my destiny where I will fail at everything else in life.
Well, and perhaps her destiny is to make her choice here, rather than allowing you to speak for her.
She says, you have given me a lot to ponder, dwarf. She's like, your idea is very good. I will begin to set up the meetings and send out the notes to set up a town hall meeting, including the mayor. I will say regarding the plague, Marius, make sure to bring the necessary items for a display. What would also, I think, would catch the attention, go around town to a couple of the ones that recovered from the plague. Get witness testimonies. As far as Nalia here, as you see Nalia kind of sitting behind Father Toybn with her head down, She will do what's right, and it's not by her, but or by me, but what by the town people here. She knows that she is a blessing. She knows that she is an angelic being that's here, that's to grace our presence. She will do what the goddess what the goddess wills of her.
Now, I can't say I much care for the fact that you keep sidestepping me on this. I'd like to hear it from the girl's mouth herself, not from yours. I didn't ask for her opinion from you.
Um, so he says, Nolly, do you have anything to say? And a couple of moments go by. You don't. Nolly doesn't say anything. He looks. He says, Nalia, I'm glad that you. He looks down at Nolly and says, my child, I'm glad that you know that sacrifice is what requires of you to do this. We must cleanse this town of its evil ways, and we will spend this as those that died by the purge, or the ones full of lust and sin, and those that survived have been granted a second chance at redemption. As he kneels down to her, he gets back up. He says, thank you, Dwarf, for this idea. I will definitely call a town hall meeting to discuss this later in the week. As him and Nalia exit.
That check was for Nualia.
What is it? I'm sorry, let me see what check.
Sense motive.
I can't even look at it. Hold up.
You want me to try again?
No, it's fine. Let me reload it. Let me see. Okay. I'll message you. Okay, so would that be? And with that, we will exit the scene. So I'm gonna pull up our so I can pull up our Gazette thing here. In the next coming days, so everyone saw the Gazette that I posted in the Discord. I'm just gonna read it. You see a picture of a plague doctor, the Sandpoint Gazette, told a plague or purged. The official death count is 337 who died to the plague. The Church of Sandpoint is now saying that this wasn't a plague but a purge of the non-believers and sinners in town. Father Toybn gave notes saying that the church is now open for all new converts to repent for their sins before the next wave of punishment. He also says that Nualia is the new light that will bring peace to this sinful town of Varisian heritage. You see another headline. People begin to leave. With the plague coming to an end, citizens react to the event by packing up and leaving the city. Officials have begun to set up roadblocks to stop a mass exodus from the town. How long until the chaos erupts at these roadblocks? How long can the town militia hold the lines? In other news, the Swallowtail Festival is cancelled due to the plague. The city market is closed until further notice, and the town council meeting on Oath Day. So, a couple of days pass. A couple of days pass as you see the hustle and bustle. I'm gonna say, what does the party want to do? Just reconvene at a set point in time, or what would anybody like to do? The day is now Oath Day. For those who do not know, Oath Day is for. Sorry, I put it in here. Earth Day is people still work, but pacts are signed and oaths are sworn. So it would make sense that This is the day of the town meeting. Toll day was 2 days ago. The weekend passed. The Sandpoint Gazette was published. Well, would anyone like to do anything with the 1 day between the town hall meeting? If not, we're going to skip to the town hall meeting.
No, I would just assume I use that day to do all my shopping and stuff, but I'll do that like offline.
Okay. So, I'm going to move people down. So it's definitely loud as you go to the town hall. I'm going to use Marius. Is everybody reconvened? You unlock the town hall. Upon approaching town hall, you see some familiar faces. Put your characters here for me right here. Aloysius, you got it? You need me to help you?
No, help me out, man. I don't see my guy.
Aloysius.
You drag over your name in the journal.
Okay, waiting for Broderick.
Yeah, sorry, I moved it to the wrong spot.
So you see some familiar faces as the town hall starts to get flooded. You see the hustle and bustle as different people from all aspects of life, workers, lumbers, laborers, some of the noble families, some militiamen start to make their way around the building, securing it. So for the most part, you know that the town hall has the vault underneath the town hall. Of course, the mayor lives here, or doesn't live here but works here. Very seldom that you can find all the town council here, but the party walks up and you see the deputy bailiff and Chef Arbington as they're kind of ushering people in. The party can go ahead and walk in here. You see some familiar faces. Acolyte Xantis, Nualia. You see some Father Toybn. Jacques sees his father there, and Pseudo's father. You see the mayor, Kendra Durbin, Titus Scarnetti, and Etherin Valdemar.
Geez, that last guy doesn't just scream evil.
I think he's just old.
Looks like Clint Eastwood.
I think he kind of looks like Emperor Palpatine.
And so what would everyone like to do before the meeting is... And now, it's a smaller map, but pretty much the whole town is packed in here. And this was an emergency meeting, so everyone is very interested in the hustle and bustle as what's going on.
Aloysius is just going to sort of blend into the crowd and see what's going to happen.
Okay. So the mayor, Kendra Durbin, she stands up and addresses and says, you know, throughout the day, you hear people talking about griefs with other neighbors. They're settled. Taxes, a dispute between the local barkeep, being banned, things like that you would normally expect at a town hall meeting. And this goes on for about an hour or two. Then Father Toybn, the town council, stands up and he says, with the news of the plague, an idea has came to me that will definitely shape the way Sandpoint is from now on. And it's going to help the town out in the long run. Mayor Kendra, Mayor Durbin, she says, go on, Father Toybn. So, Nualia here, he says, come, my child. Her magical abilities, and within the last couple of days, has rivaled even my top alkalites, like Alkalite Xanthus here. Her power is becoming deific, as you see. And as Nualia reveals herself from, like, her crown, her cloak, you can see the entire town kind of gasp as they see Nualia. You know, there have been rumors of an angel living in town and things of that nature. But even one person screams and faints. Mayor Durban quietens down the crowd and is finally silent. Father Toybn going to say that Desna has blessed us, but that blessing has come with a mighty cost. I know most of you don't want to hear this, but this town has fallen astray from the 6 deities that we worship here. The church coffers are dry. No one has been attending church. But then the moment's notice that trouble hits you, you come beating and wailing and crying and begging for forgiveness, begging for our acolytes and our clerics and priests to come to your home and make house calls and heal you and your family, begging for counsel when dire times are needed. Unfortunately, our goddess Desna has seen this and has brought a great plague to this land. And that plague was what happened in the past couple of weeks. Those that are evildoers and those that are sinful died in this. The most devout, even some most devout people who go to our church every time we hold a service have perished. Just because someone goes to the service every week and every time the church is open does not necessarily mean they're a devout follower. I propose a new direction for our town with Nualia as its lead. Nualia has been blessed, and I think that's because of a lot of the studying and the teachings that we do at our church. Nualia blessed the herbs that were used, and our dear apothecary Hannah here can testify to that. Marius can testify that, Father Xanthus, and a couple others in the back. They saw Nualia bless the herbs that were used to heal those here in town. Marius, come forth and bring those that are healed, that were crippling on their deathbeds, but Nualia healed them thanks to her blessing.
Marius approaches and brings forth the people.
As you see here, there have scars. You know, you have some that are have trouble talking, because the plague has just deformed their body so much. He points to them and says, "You might think that these people are cursed because of their deformities, but they have been given a second chance at life. This town needs to go in a new direction. This is but the first wave of punishment that this town will endure. I've had multiple visions by our goddess, and the Wali here is the center of this. The town needs to repent for their sins, or that the coast that is very behind us is going to swallow this town whole, and we're going to be nothing but a memory of the merchants and the nobles of Magnamir." Of course, move this guy. Ethereum doesn't say anything. Titus, which is known for being kind of stubborn, him, Langjuku here, he says, "So what does this mean? More taxes, lesser people in Sandpoint, more taxes, more regulation? What does this mean?" Father Toybn definitely, he says, "I think places like inns of town should be shut down at certain hours. Certain types of ale and alcohols and pleasantries should be stopped. Anyone that's caught drinking or wandering town after hours should be jailed in the garrison by Sheriff Arvington here, or one of his proud deputies or militiamen. Those who don't pay their tithes or don't support the church or do some type of volunteer, again, should be met with a stout punishment. This is the way for the town to turn back from its sinful ways. He also mentions that the Mercantile League should not, which is composed of 4 families, should not have its way into the town. Like they should, that the church should be the main focal point of the town. So at this point, you have Lanjuku and the Skarnanis they definitely oppose this and say that they're not going to give up power in their town. This is absurd. Lanjuku says someone in the crowd must agree to this. To have one sole person or one sole entity controlling the entire town is nonsense. We don't vote for a king here. Our ancestors left Kosovo and left Magnamur because of the dictatorship that was there in the town. We come to Sandpoint for freedom, so that we can trade and make our own prices by supply and demand, not to succumb to some ancient goddess in the sky that you worship. You should not impose your beliefs on us. Does anyone in the audience have anything to say or object?
I'll step up on this. Now I see that both sides here have valid arguments. You can't just crack down on what everyone wants to do and take full power, Father Toybn. But we do have a blessing on our hands, and we can use that to our advantage. Let word spread. The merchants want to make their money. They want free trade. And what better gathers people to a place than a miracle such as this? Let the people come. Let the people bring their coin. Maybe let the church and the merchants work out how the town should be run amongst themselves, although perhaps a bit more equally than it currently is. The church benefits as it brings in new believers. The merchants benefit as each believer brings with them a nice little pocketbook which they can spend in town, and the town will grow accordingly. Everyone can benefit from this. We don't necessarily have to cast out everyone we disagree with or sit under the boot of the religion that's in charge here. Rather, everybody can get a little piece of the pie.
Father Toby says, I agree. Titus Scarney says, I oppose this. I have the most to lose from this. I'm the main sole supplier for the timber here in all town. All homes must go through my family and my business to get lumber. He says, I would not want a different tax. Father Tobin stands up and says, where are your workers now? Where are they? They're at the town gates. Some are here, but most have even fled secretly, taking boats by night to flee. This town is cursed. If you do not follow the way, there will be no workers to chop down trees to feed your greedy hands. As well as you, Lanjuku, there will be no workers for your glassworks. There will be nothing. He holds a coin in his hand. He says, this is a sign of greed. He hands it to Lanjuku. Hold this, Lanjuku. I give you this gold coin. Lanjuku grabs a gold coin in an instant. He ushers around Nualia. He says, Nualia, touch this man. You see her eyes start to glow. She gets like a aura around her. At that moment, you see the coin that Lanjuku grabbed. He gave him a gold coin. Nothing happens. Lanjuku says, what is this politics? Get this child out of here. This is nothing. He says, wait. As time goes on, you see Lanjuku's coin in his hand turn to silver. And then you see it turn into a copper piece. Father Tobin stands up and says, it's your greed. She's exposing you. Our goddess is using her as an instrument, as a vessel, to expose the greed in this town. He takes more coins and throws them to Lanjuku as Lanjuku catches them. It all but takes but a second as the same thing happens. He even gives him a platinum piece. Father Toybn says, "This is one platinum piece we have. This is the last thing we have, and I'm willing to sacrifice this to show you the point of how our goddess blesses us." He gives it Lanjuku. It turns into a gold piece, then a silver piece, and then a copper piece. He says, "Lanjuku, you as well as this town has been cursed by this goddess. How can anything prosper if you do not do this?" The whole town erupts. Again, you hear more noise. As this, again you hear the mayor beat her gavel against her desk to quiet down the masses. Father Toybn stands up and says, "Ethram has not said anything because he knows. Look at him in his wise old age. He's seen this type of thing before. He knows that a town is built upon its people. And with no people, we have no town. Lanjuku and Titus, you best start to realize this." Father Toybn nods to Mayor Dorvin and says, "Mayor Dorvin, I know you are young in age, but we all here gave you the consideration and elected you amongst the family members in the council for you to be mayor. I trust that you will do what's best for the city." Does anyone on the party have anything to say?
I think the father's making things a little bit one-sided again with his arguments. I have to admit. I'm certain there's a compromise we can reach here, where everyone can be at least content with what they get out of this. You say that your problem is the increase in taxes, but if we allow if we allow this rumor to spread, and we allow people to come here, you don't necessarily have to increase your taxes to increase what you gain from the people. More people, tax them just a little bit, and you get the same amount of money from them. And that solves your whole issue right there. So you don't necessarily have to increase the taxes, and that seems to be your biggest problem. If we agree not to increase them, do you have any reason to oppose it?
At that moment, you hear a knock at the door. You see a strange, unfamiliar man walk in front of you, or walk before you. It's not a man, but I'll show you a picture of him. And I'll show you his. So they're on horses. You see them get off as the door opens, as they kind of make their way into the town hall meeting. A couple of the council members gasp as they see him, and they say, "Justice Ironbar, what are you doing here in our Sandpoint? What brings you here?" Justice Ironbar kind of says with a scoff, he says, "I hear news, troubling news, about what's going on here in town." He says, you still are under authority of the Magnemian government." He says, so what is the case of this meeting? Why is this meeting being called today? And Mayor Dorvin kind of talks about what's going on or whatnot. He says, "I'm on my way to Ravenclaw to meet their mayor as well. It seems that a lot of the smaller settlements in the area has been come under control by weird occurrences, goblin attacks, dragon attacks, and they just haven't heard from Ravenclaw in a certain amount of time, so he's going to investigate." He makes a note and says, "I expect a full report by the time I come back to Sandpoint in the next couple of days, at the most a week." He says, "At this moment, why are guards stationed at the city gates? It took me forever to get through the crowds there." Mayor Dorvin tells him, about how the plague, and he says, "I heard news of that, and how the town is trying to leave, and they've set up roadblocks not to cause panic and chaos." And he says that might be too late. He says that a mob has grown furious and started to push their way past the bridge and started attacking militiamen. And said it best better get taken care of. We've invested a lot of money into Sandpoint from Magnamere, and we need to see revenue from the city. And he takes his leave. So what will the party do? So what's the general consensus of what the party wants to do at this point?
I mean, I wanted to see what the council was going to decide on.
Yep.
Yeah.
He says that in the next, Mayor Dorman says, it makes a hard decision, especially with now just an iron bar coming in telling us this. I need to have word from him in the next couple of weeks.
Perhaps then it'd be wise for us to hold off any decision here tonight. Maybe even perhaps, since we have been devastated by this plague, as this justice has said that we are under Magnamarian government, perhaps that is where we can find some of our answers, some of our assistance. We are looking to be able to continue to have trade, continue to have a thriving town, and yet Father Toybn is also asking for certain taxes to be levied for certain things to happen to the people of this town as a sign of repentance. We need both to happen, not just one or the other. Or Sandpoint will go the way of other towns and will no longer exist. If we truly want our freedom, we might need to look for assistance from the larger government, even as that may seem almost hypocritical in a way. But we need aid regardless.
You see Mayor Durbin, kind of smile. She, nods and smiles and says, at this moment, she ushers Deputy Baylor and the sheriff. She says, Sheriff, would you please go see to what Justice Ironbar was talking about, the gates of the city, or the mob that's attacking the militiamen? The council is going to decide and adjourn here, and we're going to go to our chambers and decide what we're going to do. We thank for those who came to our meeting and who had input. We will get back to you by the end of the evening. We will send word by horse throughout the town for where our decisions are. And she hits her gavel. So that will be the decision, and you see all the council kind of go back to a back room. You see Sheriff and Baylor kind of talk among themselves as the sheriff tells his deputy, he says, Baylor, stay here and guard the council members and make sure no one gets in or out of the council city hall. I'm going to make my way down to the bridge in the entrance of Sandpoint and see what this commotion is about. You see him exit. Okay, so what would the group like to do at this point? Jacques, what do you... So what does the group want to do or discuss amongst them right now?
I knew I couldn't trust that damn Toybn. I knew he was going to try and do something like this. Rather than try and fix the town, he just wants to make it a power grab for the church.
That is what it feels like. But not even just for the church. just in the name of Desna. Aren't there Marys? Aren't there other deities worshipped here in Sandpoint besides Desna?
The church holds space for the 6 most common deities of the land, and his grab for Desna is a bit concerning.
Well, and he's going to end up destroying all the businesses. He's going to destroy the populace with these heavy taxes. The businesses aren't going to want to be here. The entire goal here was to get people coming back to the town, not give them more reasons to leave. And a crackdown is not what they need right now.
I
Yes.
I was expecting my father to take such a drastic turn.
I don't think we can. I don't think anything can be solved with violence here.
What was that? Let's investigate. Wherever it came from.
Roderick just sighs heavily and just starts walking towards that scream.
Where did the scream come from?
From outside.
Okay. Let's go outside and go investigate the scream.
Right behind you, Garlamond.
So as the party heads down a Sandpoint, you see as you head down your street, you hear more screams. As you see militiamen with their spears and swords kind of rush down the alley quickly by you. As you begin to make your way, you make your way to the Sandpoint Bridge at the bottom of the town, or one of the bridges. The group sees about 4 or 5 militiamen standing there on the opposite of them. You see Chef Arbiton behind them with like a barricade. You see certain townspeople trying to jump in the water with their belongings, trying to escape Sandpoint. At that moment, you see like a mob start to crowd amongst the party as light shoving starts to happen.
What the hell are they thinking? They're trying to trap everybody in. It's just going to make them panic worse.
The last thing a town with a plague needs is everybody bunched in a place.
At that moment, you see and then you hear. You hear a glass cracking, and you can hear and feel the fire as a glass is thrown over your head onto one of the militiamen. You hear the flames of the bridge start to burn. As this mob starts to erupt and take out the militia.
Oh boy.
You begin to hear an explosion as you see more glass vials being thrown from the crowd into the militiamen. You hear more cries and more explosions as some seem to be like fireworks. It seems like mass hysteria is starting to break out amongst the bridge here at Sandpoint. You see more militia try to disperse the crowd as you hear women and children screaming. You see Sheriff Arvington holding the line with his militiamen, trying to push and disperse the crowd. As we're probably not to do anything.
Yeah, I'd like to duck away into the nearest alley.
Okay, do you want to do a stealth check or anything like that?
So has the I guess these are alchemist fire or Molotovs, right?
You just see some vials of glass with fire being thrown.
Has it landed on the bridge? Is the bridge on fire?
As the bridge is burning.
I do not think we can do any good here. The best we can do is try to mitigate any damage on either side.
I ain't touching this with a 10-foot pole. The city dug its own grave at this point. I'm gonna go back to the town meeting. Might as well just wait it out
Perhaps,
there.
Garlamond,
What?
perhaps the truth is the thing that needs to be stated.
I don't see how the truth is gonna help us here. The people are angry because they're not allowed to leave. That's the city's fault.
They are told they are not allowed to leave because this power grab from Father Toybn, based off of Nualia, somehow blessing the mushrooms. I was there with Hannah making these potions. Nualia was never there. So whatever this is, it's not right.
The barricades were set up before that. They were already here.
Yep, and I'll move. This is a map that I have. You can place your tokens here, and as you see, there are barricades set up on even this stone on this wooden bridge.
Yeah, the barricades were set up because people were trying to make a break, get out of town. The plan with Father Toybn was to give people a reason to stay, not give him a reason to try and empower the church. I don't care for how he's doing it, but that's up to the council how they want to handle it. As for what's going on here, if
a town is to go the ways of the past because of a sickness, that is better than that of rioting.
Well, tell that to the sheriff. Tell him to get the hell out of the way and let the people out. You won't have a riot then. You'll just have a lot of people leaving town.
I mean, maybe they should leave town. Maybe Sandpoint really is doomed.
Well, with half-assed plans and ideas like this, I'm not surprised. Everyone's panicking. Okay, well, let's lock all the doors and force all the panicking people to think that we aren't going to let them leave. Let's make them desperate. Let's make them like caged animals. Yeah, that's a good idea. These people are idiots.
Where are they gonna go though?
It doesn't matter.
We've just been told there's been raids all over the countryside from dragons and goblins. The people in the city will put themselves at even more risk and danger.
But
that is what needs to be said to the people.
They're gonna leave anyway. I mean,
the people need to be told about those raids. For if then it's their choice if they're to risk that or not.
And if the people want to go, they will eventually break through the defenses.
Whether or not the people understand the risks of the outside world is irrelevant. The fact is that even if we tell them that those things are going on the outside, at least they'll probably end up thinking at least they have a chance to choose for themselves. Locking them in like this ain't going to get them anywhere. Father Toybn had one chance to try and convince everybody that there was a reason to stay, and instead he decided to fucking play around. I'm going to go talk to the sheriff. If he's not going to bring down these barricades, I will.
I'm gonna help you, and I'll come with Garlamond.
I guess I'll make my way over to the sheriff.
Hold up. Give me a second, Garlamond. Back up. So at that moment, you see the mob continue to... There's a mob there. It seems to get bigger. You see the militiamen try to hold the line. Okay, Garlamond, now you can go.
Okay, well, I'm going to try and force myself through the crowd.
Okay. Garlamond, as you try to go through the crowd, a fight breaks out as you start to hear the clashing of swords. Men and women begin to scream. You hear a thunderous sound with a smash of weapons and clashes. Okay. Garlamond, so you've entered the mob, correct?
Yep, I'm doing everything in my power to get as close to where the sheriff is as possible.
Are the militiamen shooting into the crowd?
No. You hear... Well, it's kind of hard to see, but you see some arrows. You see, like, from the crowd, they're throwing stuff at the militiamen with the fires burning on the bridge. And you see militiamen... They're shooting arrows at the crowd, but they're not... They're like blank shots. They're just shooting them up in the air, if that makes sense. And then again, you see another throw a huge glass vial. Making the bridge start to erupt in fire. Okay, Garlamond, you have entered a mob.
Okay.
Garlamond, so you've entered a mob. I'm going to treat them as swarm. So as the battle rages on, they have an issue seeing whose friend or foe is. Or you take automatic damage while you're in the mob, just so you know.
Okay.
Okay, Garlamond, you take 4 damage as you make your way. Sorry. I'm going to have you over here, Garlamond, and you take 5 foot. As you make your way through the swarm. Jacques, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't think negotiations will work. I'm gonna step up here. And can I see the group of people? So the sheriff and the others.
You see a group of people, what now?
Can I see the sheriff and the guards?
Yes, you can see. Let's make a spot check between the chaos. About 15. Yes, you can see that there's about a crowd of 15 by 15. You can see the sheriff kind of in front of them. He's kind of elevated. He's on a platform yelling at people to stop as you begin to hear more explosions.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try to help them. So I'm gonna cast
Ooh.
Sleep at the sheriff and the guards around him.
Okay. Okay, so you see one. You see one of the guards, two of the guards pass out, but it doesn't. But the sheriff is continuing to fight and to hold the line.
Yeah, that's it for my turn.
Okay. Is anyone else there? Marius, Broderick, anyone else there? Aloysius? Aloysius is hiding, correct?
Yeah, I was hiding, but I guess upon hearing all the commotion, I'm gonna run up and join the rest of the group.
Okay.
Marius is going to try and follow behind Garlamond through the crowd. Seeing as this is getting out of hand, he's going to try and reason with the card captain as well, or push them out of the way.
You only take 1 damage, Marius. Broderick.
I'm just keeping an eye on things.
Ow! Okay. The crowd's gonna go again. Marius and Garlamond take 3 more damage. Garlamond, your turn.
Okay, I'll move up towards the captain.
Okay.
How far am I able to move?
5 more feet.
I mean, I guess that's it if I can only move 5 feet.
Okay, as you continue to move through the crowd, take 5 more damage.
Wait, don't swarms only do damage on their turn?
Not this one.
Oh.
This isn't a swarm, it's a mob. I had to convert for 3.5. Okay, now, whose turn is it now? Jacques' turn. Do you want to try anything else, man?
I guess I'll try the same thing again, so same sleep again on the sheriff and not hitting them up.
Okay. So there's that. You see this one start to fall down as well. At that moment, you see the mob start to overtake the sheriff as more townsfolk start to run up.
And then I'm gonna shout, now or never, run for it.
Okay, Marius.
Well, now it's starting to feel like a rescue mission. Still moving through the crowd.
Marius take 2 damage. Okay, Broderick, Aloysius.
Yeah, because now we have to save the militiamen because they're going to get trampled now.
Yep. And so
Right. I'm gonna move up behind Broderick here.
I'm going to just start. Let me just double check. Yeah. I'm should be close enough. 25. As the militiamen are getting trampled, I'm just going to spam cast. This is going to be ridiculous. Pretty much every turn, just assume I'm casting that on one of the militiamen. Stabilize, just so they're not bleeding out. Because if they're going to get trampled. I'm right here at the very back.
Isn't stabilize a touch spell?
Yeah, that's fine.
No, close. It's close range. 25 plus 5 feet per 2 levels. So I've got... Yeah. No, that's why stabilize is such a big deal. So, yeah, I'm just going to be range, stabilize. Essentially, it's going to look like I'm just constantly praying and just being like, don't die, you idiots. Don't die, you idiots.
Okay, you're stabilizing. Continue turn order. Garlamond went. Now the Aloysius returns. You go in.
I just want to run up behind Broderick and Jock and cover the crowd with my short bow, but I'm not gonna fire or do anything yet.
Okay. Garlamond, your turn.
Okay, I'll move another 5 feet to wherever, like somewhere around there, wherever the guard captain is. I'm assuming I can muscle myself over close to him.
So as you muscle your way through, make a perception check, man. It's still chaotic. It's still too chaotic. You take 5 damage as the crowd is going berserk, and it seems like the mob is kind of attacking their own and like a mosh pit type of faction as the fire starts to rage on across this bridge.
Since I still have an action, I will. Let's see. Did I see it? Do I see that the militia are down?
You see the mob starting to begin to overtake the militia, but you see some of them right here, but you don't know where the sheriff's at. Yep. Then you see the fire blazing behind them.
I guess I'll take a shot in the dark and yell, "Oh my God! The bridge is burning! Quick, everyone get across while you can! Run!" And just try and scoot people along as best as I can.
Diplomacy. So what do you want to do with diplomacy? You want them to continue to go across the bridge?
I want them. I'm trying to convince people that time is limited and they need to start running and stop fighting.
Away from the bridge or to the bridge?
Whichever. I don't give a fuck. I do not give a crap what direction they run in. The car. I'm trying to disperse the crowd and just the general idea that you either need to run across the bridge or run away. Your time's running out. Bridge is on fire.
So at that time, you do see the crowd get smaller, but the mob is still there, and you're able to kind of see where he's at in this area. You're still looking for him though. But I will give you a bonus to your next perception check for doing that. And the crowd got smaller.
Okay.
Okay. Marius, you can kind of see more now. You're not, I'm going to move you right here just because that's where you're actually at. You and Garlamond are at.
Okay.
You see people start to hit your shoulder and kind of knock you down, but since you're, tall and sturdy, you stand up as you see them start to disperse behind your comrades. What would you like to do?
Well, my intent is to still at least try and do something about the guard to keep them safe, because
Okay.
the mob is a loss. So I will also try and find guards and see if I can do anything about it.
Perception. With a perception check, you start to see a little bit of blonde hair on the ground as you see pitchforks and knives start to head his way. You hear a clunk of a shield. You hear a weapon impact as he's fighting. You see him kind of fighting off, blood dripping down his face. A look of concern, but again, you see him. What would you like to do?
I'm going to try and redirect the crowd. Just with... Just trying to think here. I guess just to play off Garlamond here, to echo his statement saying that the bridge is burning, you need to either go across while you can, or you need to return home. Attacking the guards and the militiamen while they're down is a crime, and if you stay, you will be arrested.
You see one of the mob members turn towards you, Marius, and says, "Hey, what of this about me being arrested for my protecting me family?" You see it has an
You're not
axe
protecting your family.
and a wooden shield as he turns towards you. Continue, Marius.
You aren't protecting your family while attacking guards that are unconscious. Protecting your family would be getting them home or across the bridge to safety.
Okay, and that's that. Your perception check, you did one. You role played. I'm gonna let the other players behind you do something. Next in line. I think Fabi's turn, or is it Aloysius or Broderick's turn? I can't remember.
I'm ready if nobody else has anything.
Okay, Aloysius.
I haven't.
I want to use my no magic ghost sound.
Okay. What do you want to do with a ghost sound?
I want to make like a wolf noise to sort of spook the crowd.
Okay. Wolf noise. So, I got this on you. It seems you make some type of noise. That's all I have right here on him. There we go. Jacques, you doing ghost sound as well?
Yeah, but I'm doing 30 feet behind me the sound of 12 soldiers marching towards the bridge, and I'm going to yell, "Hurry now, run away, backup's coming." And then I'm gonna sit on this crate and watch the show.
So that guy. Now I'm gonna roll for the mob. The mob is steady fast, but this guy in front of Marius drops his weapon and shield and and flees. Okay, Broderick, what are you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, like, I hadn't gone yet, but that guy did something that was smart, because I was going to, I'm essentially going to ready an action.
Okay.
If anyone is to try to physically attack Marius or Garlamond, if they go to make a threatening physical action against them, I'm going to cast a spell at them. So I'm holding action until that moment.
Okay. Okay. Now it is. I think Aloysius went, so Garlamond. As the crowd has gotten smaller, take 3 damage. As you look to sift through the sheriff. Now, Marius, you saw what he was at. So, if you want to say something to Garlamond, I'll let you aid him right now for his perception check. So, what would you yell to Garlamond in combat? Because you see where the sheriff's at, but you just can't quite get him.
Yeah.
Garlamond is closer to him.
Yeah. So I do my best to direct him towards him. I'm assuming I saw him more to the center of the crowd.
You did.
More towards the spikes than everything else, and I yell it as loud as I can so Garlamond can hear it.
Roll a d20 for me, please. Garlamond, you continue to look. Okay, so it's a 14, that's good. You get a +2 on your perception check, Garlamond. 22, Garlamond, you see the sheriff in front of you. You see he's bloodied. That's the same description I gave Marius as he's fighting off the townsfolk. And you're within arm's reach of him. What would you like to do, Garlamond?
Let's see. He's on the ground, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Being stomped.
Garlamond's gonna pull off of his belt a nice little potion, and he's gonna chug it. And when he does, his muscles bulge and his skin gets thick and coarse. His teeth almost sharpened in the fangs, it looks like. And he's going to move in, and he's going to place himself over the guard captain.
Okay.
With his sword out, and he's going to roar out at the people. Anybody who wants to take the guard's life has to go through me first. Anyone else can get the hell across the bridge.
Make an intimidation check.
You want?
Okay, I'll accept that. At that time, you hear people talking, the crowd starts to disperse. As a man lets out a wail. The crowd disperses and heads back into town.
God, that made me sad having to use my mutagen like that, but it felt like it would work. It felt good in the moment.
You see him blood, you see his hair, dirt. He goes to check on his men. Let's see if these guys, let's see if they're alive. Okay. Okay. So he says, as he screams out and passes.
I was casting stabilize.
I know, but he kept on getting hit. The fire is burning. He lets out a wail. He wakes these 2 guys up. They're roughed up, but this one he shakes his head and says a useless casualty. As he lets out a sigh, he looks at you, Garlamond, and says, "Thank you, comrade, for putting your life in danger to save ours."
The hell were you thinking closing the bridge?
He replies and says, "I knew it wasn't a good order, but I do what I'm told to do."
You need to do what's right. You don't need to worry about what good or bad orders there are. You need to worry about doing what's right. You knew how this was going to turn out. Common sense could have told you that.
He says, "I didn't think the people of Sandpoint would muster such a force."
These people are desperate. They're cornered. And then you lock them in. The council's dragging their ass. The church is trying to gather up all the power it can. This place is going to end up dying out if you people don't get your shit together.
He nods off with like a scowl. You know, he doesn't really know you. He just thanked you. He knows, you know, a newcomer kind of in and out with Shaylu of the town. he says, well, anyways, thank you for saving our lives. If you need anything, please make sure to head to the garrison and come see one of my deputies. We're going to continue to put away this fire and bury our dead. Now the disease and now riots in town, it seems like Sandpoint is being taken out one citizen at a time. You see his men kind of grab buckets and pails and start to get the fire smaller on the bridge, but it does seem like this area of the bridge is destroyed. So we will move the players back up to Sandpoint map, and we are going to freehand this.
I will be right back.
This bridge has been destroyed. Okay, party group. What would you like to do in this instance?
Do you guys think we did the right thing by helping the people?
I need to go talk to Hannah.
Okay.
And I'll start heading that way because she's just right there.
So as you begin to walk to Hannah, you see a kid. He's running around town with papers in his hand, and he's yelling. He's saying, "Hear ye! The town council declares Sandpoint under lockdown. Sandpoint under lockdown," and saying, "New rules and curfew of Sandpoint. New rules and curfew. No one out past nightfall. No one out past nightfall. Brothel close. Taverns close." As he continues to pass out flyers to the bystanders and the mob and the militia. As you walk to Hannah's. You get to Hannah's. Again, the same comforting aromas that you grew up with as a child. Smelling the brew, the pots, and different iniquities that she has in her apothecary that once brought you comfort, now just seem as normal as breathing or looking at a cloud or something like that. They don't bring you as comfort as they did. But you see Hannah in the back as she opens the door, tolling away at her pot. The bell goes off and she looks up, looks at you, and says, "Broderick, nice to see you. Surprise, nice to see you."
How was it that you were not hearing the noises that were going on outside?
Now, even though this map is small, she is about 500 feet away from this.
Oh, okay.
That's the map scale. She says, "What do you mean noises? I've been here totally," and you can you hear the fire in her place too, like the fire sounds you hear now. It's pretty bright. I mean, it's pretty loud as well, and you can kind of hear the bubbling as the cauldron as she starts to make potions. And there is a little foot traffic here in the office as well.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
She says, "What do you mean noise? What happened?"
Hannah, the people are rioting. They're starting to riot because Father Toybn had this idea that Nualia somehow blessed the herbs, and he's now used this as a way to lock this city down and put restrictions on the people. I was here with you. What does this mean?
I do feel I should note again that the barricades put up around the town were put up before the town council meeting.
Yeah, I know.
So Hannah tells you.
I'm talking to Hannah.
Yeah, he's just here. He's with Hannah alone. He. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
She says, Broderick, I didn't have that idea. Your comrade had that idea to say that Nualia blessed the herbs and the potions and the medicine that was given out to the town.
But why did you go along with it? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Garlamond insisted that it was the best for the town.
I think what's going to be best for the town is going to be the truth. This was a sickness. Sicknesses come, sicknesses go, and it was unfortunate. But now Father Toybn is using this as an opportunity to seize control over the four families, and well, I don't care anything really for the four families, as they want their own power, their own control, and their own greed. That doesn't make what Father Toybn is doing as right. We need to let the people know the truth.
She lets out a sigh. She says, Broderick, humans live short lives, and they make countless mistakes in the era. She says, I'm blessed to live 9 or 10 of one of their lives. I've seen many things in my time on this earth. I've only been here 3.5, 400 years, who knows. But I do know that it's fleeting. I've seen kingdoms rise, towns fall. And I know that you're more like them in your lifespan, but you have to take a step back and look at the bigger picture here. I don't mind going to the town council and saying that I was asked to say this or do this, but do you think it really changed?
It may not change certain aspects of the city. The city may fall, the city may strengthen. None of that matters as much as the truth in this moment. People are believing a lie, and that makes it where people don't have their real freedom of choice. It is manipulation.
She says, I agree, everyone should have the whole truth. She says, I'll close the shop today or after the shop and I'll talk to Mayor Torbin. Maybe I'll
Let me go with you. Let me go with you. The streets right now are in chaos. I don't want anything to happen to you on your way there.
She says that's a nice sentiment. So it's going to take some time for that to happen because the shop's still working. What does the other party members like to do at this moment? I'm going to go with Jacques. What does Jacques want to do? And then we'll go with Aloysius.
I would like to head to the mayor's office.
Okay, anyone else heading that way, or?
Aloysius being a...
You cut out, Robert, what's up?
I arrived here with Garlamond, so I'm tending to stay with...
Okay. Marius, anything that you would like to do?
I'm assuming all said and done with the decree, that means the council meeting has been finished, yes?
Yes.
So I would, I guess, head my way to the church.
Okay.
What was the decree? I missed it.
You hear sounds. I mean, you just heard like a boy on a horse, and you see boys running the streets saying that a new curfew has been proposed by the town council. No one out allowed nightfall, brothels and inns are shut down, and that's all that the party members heard.
They say we can't stay out drinking anymore.
So, Jacques, you want to head to the mayor's office, I take it?
Yes.
Okay. So, as you make your way there, You see, let's go down to the mayor's office. Is anyone else headed that way as well, or no?
I'm headed towards the church. Me and Father Toybn need to have another talk apparently.
Unless he has any objections, sticking with Garlamond, sorry.
Okay. So you make your way, Fabi. To Jacques. You make your way to the mayor's office, and you're met by a deputy Baylor at the front. You see a couple of militiamen there.
Yes, I have to talk to the mayor. It's urgent.
The deputy tells you. Deputy Baylor tells you. He says, for the safety precautions of the mayor, at the town hall meeting, you see the militiamen there by him. He says that the town hall was closed for protection of the mayor.
The mayor doesn't need to be protected from me. If militiamen can be present, I don't care about that.
Roll a diplomacy check, since he is indifferent with you at this moment. 20, okay, great roll. The deputy, he says, he gives you a scowl. He tells a militiaman or two here, he says, stay at the door. He says, I'll escort him to the mayor. He takes you there, and you see the mayor kind of there in the office, in her office, or the kind of with her hands in her head, or her head in her hands, excuse me, kind of there, just rubbing her forehead. She's rubbing her temples. What would you like to say, Jacques? She hears that you come in, but she doesn't lift her head up to say anything to you two.
Did word get to you what happened at the bridge?
Nothing. Nothing. She hasn't. I mean, you did this right after the bridge, so the party went their separate ways. So the sheriff was there putting the fire out, so she doesn't know what happened at the bridge.
Yeah, a mob broke out, and now the bridge is on fire and can't be used anymore.
She says, "Well, luckily the Scarnetti family will have extra lumber to repair the bridge." She gasps and says, "What do you mean a mob broke out? Was anybody injured or hurt?"
Yes, a town guard died.
Again, you hear, and you can see just the stress, the tension. You see the stress that she's in. It's made apparent. She doesn't even try to hide it from you. She says a mob broke out. What happened? What were the events leading to the mob breaking out? How did the bridge get on fire? How did the town guard die?
Well, I don't exactly know the specific reason why the mob broke out. I can guess it's because of the new rules. The bridge got on fire because someone threw something that set it on fire, and the guard died. The guard died because it tried to stop the mob.
But she says, Deputy Baylor, can you please go to A Chef Arvington in this? The deputy says, unfortunately, ma'am, no, I'm going to have to sit here and guard you for your protection. She replies, but you have two militia. And then he stops her and says, no, you're my utmost important duty at this moment is to guard and protect you. He says, no arguments will be made for me to leave my station at this moment. He says, I will head to the door, or make his way kind of to the door of the office. He's still there, so he can still see you fobbing, but he's just there, you know. If any mob rushes the building, I'll hear the mob from the guards from outside, and we can aid you in your escape from the building.
It's the plague, you can't do anything against it. Those happen naturally. But those mobs, they came because of your decisions. This man is on you.
He says, even though the council voted for this and it was an unanimous decision, I agree it's on me. Maybe I should have said something. I didn't know that this was going to happen. I just want to do what's best for the town.
Well, what's best for the town is not to give the church all the control.
She says we will not have a town if everybody leaves, though. What happens when we have a max exodus from the town?
Well,
I do feel, again, I should note that the mob broke out before the rules were made.
Yeah. The mob broke out because of the plague, and so doesn't really matter for this. The mass exodus is because of the plague, and if you handle the plague, the people will come back.
She says reply to that the plague is over, though. Now we have to worry about rebuilding. This town needs security. We need values. We need family values. One more way to build the morale and values up of our citizens than a religious doctrine or decree. When people fall into when people fall into tough troubles and trials, they always flock to the church.
Yes, but the church is doing nothing. People have died, and they just kept praying around, and it did nothing.
It's only been 1 hour. It hasn't even been 1 hour until the decree was made. Maybe we should give them a day or a week's time to see what happens, to see if we can rebound.
Maybe you should be honest with the people, communicate with them, and ask them why they're riot.
She again lets out a sigh. She says, "Even though I know I'm a young child, you're still a child, still yourself." She says, "I appreciate you bringing this matter to me. I will make sure I let the other council members know about the mobs and the riots if they have fled to the sanctuary of their homes." She points towards Deputy Baylor and says, "Deputy Baylor, will you please show this young man out?" Deputy Baylor stands up and says, "Go, kid."
Oh, go.
Okay, so he ushers you out the door. And we will head to the church. Garlamond, as you make your way, you and Marius kind of walk. You know, Marius was a little there before you. I mean, he's ahead of you. I mean, not by much, but you can see Marius in front of you. I mean, he's a couple of steps in front of you as you walk there to go to church. As you walk there to go to the church. As you get there, though, you see another crowd, but it's not like in a mob yet. You do see something new, Marius, as you make your way there. You see militiamen at the church, guarding the doors. Garlamond, you see that as well as you make your way. Marius, I'll give you like an action or two before Garlamond gets to do anything.
I'm given what we just dealt with, I'm kind of awestruck at what I'm witnessing, seeing armed guards at the gates. I approach and I ask them, "What's going on here? Why is there armed guards at the gates of the church?"
Are you asking the people that's surrounding this, or are you asking the guards?
The guards themselves, as I'm trying to walk past them as well.
As you make your way, he says, "Father Toybn thought it was best to have guards who would protect Nualia from the crowds. As we made our way through the streets, several of the townsfolk started to grab at Nualia, to grab hairs and to pinch and to say that she was their savior and tried to overtake her. A couple of guards had to disperse the crowd, and Acolyte Xantus and Father Toybn made their way inside the church."
Okay, so I put my hand on this guy's shoulder and I say, "You're doing God's work. Thank you for keeping her safe."
At that time, you hear the clink of armor behind you, Marius, and you see Garlamond there.
I acknowledge the dwarf, and I guess we've got another conversation with Father here.
Yeah, where the hell is he?
He's inside right now. Apparently, the crowds are becoming more aggressive now that Nualia is in the spotlight.
I gave him it was such a simple plan. It was so simple. Give the people hope. That's all he had to do. That's all he had to do was give the people hope. But no, he turns it into a goddamn power grab. He turns it into a crackdown. These people, he's gonna end up ruining this fucking town. Where is he? Let's go find him.
So at that moment, the guard, he puts his arrow, his staff, out before Garlamond and says, "We've been given orders that only those that are associated with the church can pass." So he ushers Marius, you've been permission to pass, but he tells Garlamond that you may not.
I grab
I'm
this.
sorry. I don't remember asking your permission to come in.
He says it is our duty that you may not, that no one, unless they are associated with the church, can go inside the church.
I grab the guard's staff and I move it, and I say, "I'm the Inquisitor, and he's with me."
He says, "We have been given permission for Father Toybn for you to enter into the church. I do not know about this Inquisitor title that you bring forth. I was told by Father Toybn only members and clergymen of the church may enter. Marius, we were given your name. We know that you are Father Toybn's son. You have been granted permission to enter. I was told under no circumstances anyone else be able to enter inside."
I'm gonna reach into my back pocket and I'm gonna pull out my dad's holy symbol and I'm gonna flash it to the guards. I am part of the church. You see this? You still want to get in my way? I'm trained as a damn paladin. Why do you think I'm here? I'm here to help with the church.
So that would be a bluff check.
Oof. God, can't roll for shit.
He looked at you and scoffs and laughs and said, "Haha, good try, dwarf." He says, "Make your way."
Well, how about this, friend? Maybe you let me into the church, or maybe I go have a talk with those townsfolk over there, and maybe they help me get into the church. What do you say? How about we both be friendly about this, and you let me accompany my friend here, the Inquisitor, into the church?
He says, "Please do not threaten me with that. I've been given strict orders by Father Toybn, and I was given orders by the sheriff to follow his every direct order. Please go talk to the townspeople, but they are not threatening at this moment. They just want to see Nualia. And please do not threaten me or any of my militiamen again."
There's no threats here, friend. Only promises. And I intend to keep them if I have to.
So at this moment, you kind of see the other militiamen there stand. They kind of look to you. They start looking towards you, yeah, and you see the one militiaman in front of you. He says, "Now be gone," as you kind of, it's not like a push, but you're kind of there on his shield, and he kind of like raises his shield forward towards you and says, "To leave." And he says, "Marius, you may enter."
Marius, tell Father Toybn that I'm outside, and I have a mind to share my thoughts with the populace about what me and him had talked about yesterday. And that if he doesn't get my ass inside that church right now, I'm gonna make sure to let everybody know the whole story about what's going on.
I give a solemn nod, and I just kind of shake my head at the absurdity of what's going on, and I proceed into the church.
Okay, you enter in. Okay.
Is there anything out of sorts in here, or is it as is?
I mean, you see a lot of almost you see Father Xantus there. A lot of them, they're all praying. He gets up to greet you and says, "Good to see you, and good to see you unmaimed or harmed." He says, "I hear that Sandpoint's becoming increasingly dangerous to walk the streets even in the daytime." He says, "But that'll be remedied soon."
We've just broke a riot on the South Bridge. It destroyed the bridge in the process and killed a guard. And it eventually dispersed, but the people are having none of this.
He says the people were still upset about the plague is what me and Father Toybn are assuming, but once the church starts to not necessarily take over, but once the church's doctrines and the values and morals of what's right start to make their way through the Sandpoint, you can best bet that these mobs and riots and the simple nature of Sandpoint will be relinquished.
I understand we were to try and make this better, to give hope, to spin a tale of belief and strength and all these other things, but everything feels so stifling, so constrictive.
It feels that way because we're still under yesterday's rules. Even though the decree has been made, son, we still have to push past their wrongdoings. The purge of this town is coming. Whether our goddess does it or the people themselves do it. It's going to take time. You yourself know, how long has it taken you now to become the young man that I see before you? A year ago, even a couple of weeks ago, I would have never relinquished my title as Inquisitor to you. But through these last couple of days, I've seen you go become the young man that you are. You've gotten taller. Your muscles are filling out. You're becoming the champion that Deza needs you to be. You're becoming the church's Inquisitor. I see the same potential in this city as I see in you, Marius. As I saw in you, Marius.
Last week, 2 weeks ago, I was baby-faced too. Much like my sister, when I touched that well, it changed me too. I aged. The near death at that dragon was a wake up call as well to the needs of the people around me. But as we stand here, at the end of this plague, at at even the worry that, Galander here, Desna's own heel, we have these worries, these concerns. Yes, I understand we're trying to make things better, but this doesn't seem right. This seems too smothering for the goddess that she is.
Marius, what did you not just say to me, child? What did you just say to me about the dragon? You said that you were babyface a couple of weeks ago, and what happened to your comrades? In the face of what? In the face of death, you were changed. Am I not correct? Did I not just hear you say that?
Yes.
So in the face of death of this town, they will be changed as well. I know that your sister and you were changed, but Deza smiled upon you first. She will smile upon the town now.
But what about her sisters, those who aided her? What about the other 5 that belong here as well? Those who gave her the strength to stand above others. Why do they get shirked to the wayside?
My child, those gods can still be worshipped here, but at this moment, Desna's having a reckoning in this town. So I give her credit. I see it with my own eyes in front of you and my own abilities. I'm aging, I'm getting older. Same as Father Toybn. He's not going to always be around, and one day I'm going to take his mantle. And then one day, when I go on and when I go into the afterlife, you as well will take mine, or even Nualia. We must pass down what we learned to each generation, and just like you and your sister have been blessed, this same town will be blessed as well. I'm not disavowing or saying these other gods did not have a say, but right now, under Father Toybn's leadership, he's had dreams and vision that Nualia is going to bring about a change on this town. Whether that is this year, tomorrow, next month, or 5 years or 10 years down the road, she's going to bring a change about this town that they will remember forever. Father Toybn has seen this in his dreams. They are vivid. I don't know what the events happen in the dreams, but I believe this. This says you have followed him, and I've followed him. We're all in this together. You must trust us.
It is hard to trust when those that worship the goddess of travel and journeys do not allow people to leave.
He makes a remark. He says, what if all along we've been worshiping her the wrong way? That's what these fasting is about. And at that time, he's gonna put his hand on you. He actually just goes into like a kind of a hug. You know, even though he is older than you and becoming, weaker, he embraces you, and you feel weightless under his arms. He says, I'm gonna get back to praying and fasting for a revelation through this. I hear your concerns, child. They do not fall on deaf ears. And he bends down as he goes and bends down and begins to pray. Okay, that was Marius. I'm gonna go Jacques went, Aloysius, and Garlamond is outside.
Aloysius is just going to kind of shadow Garlamond.
Okay. Garlamond.
Well, since it doesn't seem I'm going to be getting into the church, I guess I'll try my hand at speaking with the mayor.
Okay, as you make your way down to the town hall, you meet Fabi as he is walking out the door. Let me do this. Fabi is there. Garlamond, Aloysius. And you see Chef Baylor walk behind him and shut the door. And you see that he's flanked by 2 militiamen as well.
I say I wasn't the only one with the idea to come speak with the mayor.
No, yeah, we're not, but I don't think that's gonna be much use.
Baylor, I don't assume. Can I assume that this is much like every other building I've been to today, and poor old Garlamond must be kept out in the rain, as his name is not on the chosen list?
I mean, I want to say I don't blame them, but they're doing some stupid decisions, and I guess we're not part of them.
Yeah, I think the way things are going, I think this town, I think they've dug their own grave.
I mean, maybe Sandpoint truly is cursed.
Well, that definitely might be the case. Although I must say, the way these people are handling things, I don't think it's gonna help. Nobody's looking at how to help fix up the town. Nobody's looking at how to help fix up the people. It's everybody just fighting for their own power and looking at the short game. Everyone gains if the town is strong. But if you just siphon all the power away to the merchants or the church, nothing gets done.
Next coming hours, you see city militiamen walk around town, some on horses, some are not, carrying torches. You see folks on the streets talking. You see the militiamen usher them, saying curfew time's coming as the sun starts to set behind the Varisian coast. And as Sandpoint, once a rustling city of a couple of inns, a jovial place, you see the lights start to dim, candles start to go out, and nothing but the crash of the oceans to be heard. And that's where I'm going to end the story for tonight, guys.
So soon.
I know, man. This kind of put a wrench in it. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you all who are checking us out on the YouTube. Please like, comment, and subscribe. In the next couple of weeks, I'm even thinking about opening up the Discord for those who have questions or want to come in and chill and hang out. But thank you guys for checking us out. Again, like, comment, and subscribe.